Let's start with Dyson Heppell. So the Gold Coast Suns are prepared to offer Dyson a 4-year contract to join the club.
Whoa!
So when I say 4 years, so the Essendon skipper's been tempted by this bold pitch, but it would most likely involve a 2-year agreement to play, Tim, and another 2 years to work as an assistant coach. So what we know is that Essendon have been relatively slow to offer Heppell a new contract beyond this year, and that did raise some interest among rival clubs before they eventually presented him with a 1-year extension for 2023. Now, I need to stress, the Gold Coast offer has not been formally tabled, and there is a feeling within the Suns that despite how attractive their pitch might look on paper, they believe they are still the outsiders here. But if Heppell was to accept the Suns' offer, he'd be free to join the Queensland club as an unrestricted free agent and without the need for a trade.
Gold Coast reckon if they offer a 4-year deal, they're the outsiders. They'd be joking.
Because I think Dyson Heppell's ties to Essendon still remain strong. And it's a negotiation.
He's the captain. He's the current
captain. He's played every game this year. He was an Essendon supporter growing up. He was a first-round pick going back to the 2010 National Draft.
Back 4 years.
Well, it's 2 as a player, 2 as a coach.
He's got 1 year from Essendon, is that right?
It is one. I was just going to say it's 1 year at Essendon, but this is a negotiation. So it's 1 year at the moment at Essendon for a fee, of course. So 211 games, a lot of history, a lot of water gone under the bridge. It's some difficult times for the club where Dyson Heppell has always put his hand up, always flown the flag, done some great work for that club. And I reckon while there's been some queries on his form and his place in Essendon's best 22, as I say, he's played every game this year. And the coach, Ben Rutten, only last week said he had no concerns that Heppell was yet to recommit. He said, Hepp knows how much of a valuable player and person he is at this footy club. Right. He knows how much we love him, Gary, and we want him here next year.
Is he playing round 7 next year for Essendon in the seniors, in their best side? And this is the question.
I'm not qualified enough to answer that.
Well, you should be.
Well, on this evidence, I think it's to be debated.
Which is why 4 years is going to turn his head.
It's an incredibly good
Okay, let's switch
offer.
The question around. I'll go back to you, Gary.
Yes, Whispers.
Will he be getting a regular game at the Gold Coast Suns in his second year of that contract if he was to take it?
Not necessarily, but clearly they see him as more than just a player.
Yeah, and he's been one of the great clubmen at Essendon, like award after award after award. I mean, he's one of those guys who just loves the football club, engages with everybody, has great empathy for everybody.
I love him too. If I'm advising him.
How do you say no to that?
Yeah.
That's hard to say no to.
In terms of his long-term future in the game and if he wants to stay involved, then that's a very, very hard deal to turn your back on.
Is it known that he's got an appetite and interest in coaching? Obviously, it is.
Well, unknown.
Appeals to him.
Unknown to me, but it's very similar that, when Clarko sat down and had that conversation with, different circumstances around sort of how successful the team had been with those players, but, the Hodge situation, the Sam Mitchell situation, the Jordan Lewis situation.
Correct. And they were all, to be fair to Dyson, they were all more celebrated players than him.
Superstars of the club and very successful players too. And, Hodgie being captain, that type of thing. Like, these conversations are uncomfortable conversations and they're complex conversations sometimes, but they still need to be had for football clubs and they're going on all the time.
And we are and this is a great thing about our game, we're very emotionally attached. We've talked about this with coaches and players.
With players, absolutely.
But pragmatically, and if you just looked at it in the cold, hard light of day, then the 4 years is, again, he may turn his back on it. It's hard to.
It is. And from an Essendon perspective, obviously an uber-sensitive situation with a guy with all that history and the captain since 2017.
They don't want to be running him out of town.
No. So watch this space on that one. We'll see how it plays out. But at the moment, Dyson Heppell would appear to have a decision on his hands. Some other contracts quickly. Bailey Smith yesterday finalised that new 2-year deal at the Bulldogs. It was always coming.